So let's open the meeting. The East Brandywine Township Board of Supervisors PM meeting on tonight, Thursday, January 19th. That's at 6:30 p.m. is being covered by a recording device and will be in use during the entire meeting. Let's open with a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, may I interrupt at this juncture?
Yes.
Pursuant to Act 65 of 2021, the agenda that appears at the back of the room and posted on the screen behind you and in your packets, the black and white portions represent what was posted on our website. The red portions represent suggested changes to our agenda this evening. Act 65 prohibits us from changing a posted agenda and the board from taking action on a non-agenda item unless they vote in the meeting to amend the agenda and state the reasons for doing so. At this time, I'd respectfully ask that we add agenda item 6, Roman numeral 6A, to discuss a recommendation of the Planning Commission to the Board of Supervisors regarding a scheduled zoning hearing on February 9th, 2023. If the board votes in the affirmative, staff will post this to the website consistent with Act 65 of 2021 tomorrow. And I have, actually, I have one other suggestion. Item number 7A, recognition of a longtime volunteer. I would like to suggest that we move that up to immediately preceding public comment on agenda items.
That's fine. We will do that. So with that said, we need a motion to add the agenda item.
I'll make a motion to add agenda item 6A, 525 Reeds Road, Planning Commission's request to represent the township at the zoning hearing scheduled for February 9th, 2023.
I second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So added. Okay, let's have a recognition.
Sure. So as staff liaison to Parks and Recreation, I would like, on behalf of the board, to recognize Leslie Winters, who is retiring from her volunteer service with the Parks Board. Sandy, can I have you join me up front? So we've got Chairman Carl, I should be more formal, Chairman Croft, and Parks and Recreation Chair Sandy Lanning. I'm gonna read straight from the plaque. For many years of service with as the 5K race director with the East Brandywine Parks and Recreation Board, thank you, Leslie, for your dedication in raising many thousands of dollars, enabling Parks and Recreation to continue to make positive improvements in our parks. Please. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say that, well, one, little did I know when I met Dave Summers and Janine in the park when we first moved here, and he asked me, would I want to organize this race? I didn't know what I was getting into. That was probably 10 years ago now, but I have to kind of step back, at least for a while, because my mom lives with us and she needs a lot more care, and I just have to cut down on my responsibilities. But I hope to be back in some capacity to help Parks and Rec with whatever we have, but maybe not quite so big. Love to have you back. Right. Thank you for all your support, all this.
It's a huge undertaking. We appreciate all your time.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
if there's anyone who would like to become our 5K race director, we're openly looking for someone.
Oh.
Thank you, guys.
There is one other member of Parks and Rec who's going off after many years of service. Kirk Furman is retiring, but was unable to make it this evening. So I'd like to extend my thanks for many years of service to Kirk as well.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're ready for public comment on agenda items. The rules for conduct of public meetings established by Resolution 2001-08. The time allocated to each individual making a comment shall be 3 minutes, unless otherwise set by the presiding officer. As a presiding officer, I am limiting it to 3 minutes. Additional public comment may be granted at the discretion of the presiding officer at the conclusion of the meeting, which I will consider. And I want to remind anybody who is making a public comment that we want to hear your comment. We should not interact and take away from any of your 3 minutes. So at the end of the 3 minutes, we as supervisors or as staff, as appropriate, may make comments or ask you questions. But your 3 minutes will be your 3 minutes. So is there any public comment? We don't get to try this out? Okay. Item 3, minutes of previous meetings. I have a motion to approve the December 15th and the January 3rd Board of Supervisor meeting minutes. I can do both together.
You sure can.
Thank you. So moved. I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Treasurer's report, authorization to pay bills and approve payroll. I've reviewed the bills, and I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report and authorize the approval of the payroll.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're into the item 5 already. Township reports, the township manager's report. Luke?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm going to start my remarks with a little bit of show and tell. Please bear with me as I queue up the screen. Produce the video and drive and talk at the same time. All right, so this is a video. It should play on loop while I'm talking. All right. Early in the morning of Wednesday, December 28th, a section of fire suppression piping located in the attic immediately above my attic froze and burst open. The East Brandywine Fire Company was able to turn off the water, but not before the subsequent flooding affected most of the township administration side of the building. Valiant efforts by members of township staff, 3 of whom were recalled from scheduled vacation leave. The vice chairman of this board, Kyle Scribner, their valiant efforts resulted in the relocation of the administrative offices and vital records to dry areas of the building. The township experienced no disruption to service delivery. The loss was insured, and staff have been working with our insurance agent, Zurich Insurance Group, Belfour Restoration Services, and other vendors to restore the building. No timeline for the return to our original office area is known at this time, but timely progress has been made. I'd like to extend my thanks to all those involved in the response and the cleanup, and I'm very much looking forward to being able to find anything, including pens, paper, whenever I need it. I have one other set of pictures to share. One, the photo on the left is the roof or the ceiling of my office, and the photo on the right, while oriented the wrong direction, shows the room we're in and the water encroachment into the space we're in right now, just to give you a sense of the scope of the flooding in the building. In your packet, this
I would also like to commendate the staff. It was amazing that by the Thursday, they were in the temporary office spaces, working away, as well as still working on the flood. The Some of our vendors that supervise or that maintain our electronic equipment were here right away. The insurance company made the call to Balfour, the remediation specialist, and the first person showed up within an hour, I believe, Matt?
right.
Within an hour on a holiday week, and brought a couple hundred fans with them, or whatever the contraptions were. So it was quite a valiant effort, and I really applaud the township with so few staff accomplishing so much in 24 hours. So thank you, staff.
In your packet this evening and located at the entrance to this room was a complete schedule of 2023 solid waste program dates, including the dates for curbside trash, recycling, bulk, leaf, and yard waste collections. The township is beginning year 4 out of a 5-year contract with our current waste hauler, A.J. Blazinski. I'd like to extend an apology to those residents who were adversely affected by the miscommunication between the township and our waste hauler immediately after the Christmas holiday. As early as January of 2022, township marketing materials reflected that the collection would occur on Wednesday, December 28th, consistent with the general rule that holidays that fall on or are observed on Mondays push the collection back one day. Christmas in 2022 was on a Sunday. The public holiday on Monday was not observed by A.J. Blazinski, and the collection was therefore on the usual Tuesday. Notice was provided by A.J. Blazinski that our calendar did not match their plans, but staff was not able to properly communicate the change to residents due to short notice and the skeleton staff schedule around the holiday. I do appreciate that A.J. Blazinski waived the usual limits the following week to collect those who were missed. I believe that working with our waste hauler to plan holiday dates far in advance, that effort represented by the plan, the calendar that's in your packet, improvements to the language of our contract in the next bid cycle in 2023 or 2024 should address this problem going forward. Again, my apologies for the miscommunication. Township staff have completed a complete review of the mile marker newsletter mailing list. This list of 3,591 addresses is generally updated in real time, but after a decade of rapid township growth, a number of homes were discovered to not be receiving the mile marker. These residents should begin receiving the publication beginning in spring of 2023 edition. The current newsletter, as well as old editions, are all available on our website. I'd like to extend a special thank you to Emily Albert for her work on this extensive project. And then lastly this evening, and consistent with the volunteers we honored earlier this evening, Township staff and the Board of Supervisors rely on the support of many volunteers to provide services for our resident. At this time, there are 3 committee vacancies posted on our website at ebrandywine.org/jobs. These are the Open Space Committee, the Parks and Recreation Board, and the Historical Commissions. Duties, qualifications, and instructions on applying can be found on our website. Thank you very much for your time. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Matt, you have a report for us?
Yes, I do. Last week I met with Sean Farrell of Cedarville to discuss this year's paving projects for 2023. We are planning to repair and overlay Keller Way, Kristen Circle, School Lane, La Via, and Batten Drive. We're also planning to chip seal Timber Pass and the Cumberland and Ridge development. Some additional work would be to repair portions of Hopewell Road. Cedarville will be providing a proposal for preparation of the bid specifications. In December of last year, Mr. Rehab jetted and videoed some storm sewer pipes in the township that are damaged due to the bottom of the pipes rusting. Recently, I asked Mr. Rehab for pricing to line 3 pipes on Kristen Circle and 2 on Gloucester Drive. A pipe on Newland Drive has a rock protruding through the top. The road department will be making repairs on that one. And 1 additional pipe on Brandywine Drive, when videoed, showed it was crushed. That was more than likely during construction. This too will be repaired by the township. When we receive the proposal for the lining, I will pass that on to the board for their approval. Thank you.
You wanna talk about the truck
I think that's under number
as a
H,
separate
7H,
agenda item?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. My direction to staff is that any action items appear on the agenda.
Correct, no.
So, but in an effort to let the board know what will be discussed, Matt generously scripts himself and has the comments for that later agenda item in his report.
That's fine, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, police report.
The police report for December 2022. We would like to congratulate Officer Tanner Smith on his recent marriage to his new wife, Jen. We also want to let the board know that our new speed trailer is in service and out on the street. We have an ongoing list of locations that we've been developing, and we just want the residents to know that we're moving the trailer around each week. So if you have a request for us to put it out in your development, please contact the police department and we'll add it to the list. Our total monthly events for December were 2,230. We completed 221 investigations. There were 7 criminal arrests, 3 summary arrests, 2 warrant arrests. There were no juvenile petitions for the month. We investigated 16 traffic accidents, issued 48 traffic citations, 50 traffic warnings, and officers patrolled 10,116 miles. Training completed for the month. Officer Parsons and Officer DiPaolo attended a vehicle code expert training course. We received 1 correspondence from the Sambuca family for the Bluebeards charity event, which we participate in every year. We raised $65,000 this year, which was split up between 3 different charities. Finally, I would just like to recognize and acknowledge Lieutenant Jeff Yankenich. As you know, he has been running the police department for the last 3 months while I was out on medical leave, and it was a Herculean task dealing with my job responsibilities as well as his own, and he did a fantastic job, and I just wanted him to know that I thank him for that. We have before you the monthly report, the officer activity reports, and I do have a 2022 final activity report attached for your review.
Thank you. Did I skip over the building inspector's report, or is it just,
You did. I can read that into the record.
okay? I would appreciate that, thank you.
All right. So, consistent with our practice for January, we're going to have a year-end report and a December report for 2022. So I'm going to start with the December report for 2022. There were 11 building permits issued. I'm not on the camera. I'm now on the camera. There were 1 zoning permit issued. Total fees for building permits collected in December of 2022 was $6,552.50. There were 13 use and occupancy permits issued, 90 inspections completed, and 0 failed inspections. Now for the year ending December 31st, 2022, there were a total of 290 building permits issued, 32 zoning permits issued. Total fees collected for building and zoning permits totaled $234,999.50. There were 240 use and occupancy permits issued. There were 1,866 inspections completed, of which there were 284 failed inspections. Other fees collected totaled $22,807, and for a grand total of total fees collected in 2022 of $257,806.50. Respectfully submitted, Noreen King, Building and Code Secretary.
Thank you. And we have a fire company report.
Yes, good evening. Report from East Brandywine Fire Company for December 2022. We responded to a total of 91 incidents for the month. 48 of those were fire incidents, 43 were medical. In East Brandywine Township, we responded to 25 fire incidents and 23 medical incidents. Of those, we had an average response of 11 personnel and 18 for major incidents. Fuel usage was a total of 235 gallons, 164 gallons contributed to East Brandywine Township. Under risk management, we had an estimated fire damage of $70,000, one fire-related injury, and one fire-related fatality. For training, we held 3 trainings for the month with an average of 18 personnel. Our annual report for 2022, we responded to 701 incidents for the year, 415 for fire incidents, 286 for medical incidents. In East Brandywine Township, we responded to 168 fire incidents, 174 medical incidents. Average response per call was 10 personnel. Estimated fire damage for the year was $127,500. Again, with one fire-related injury and one fire-related fatality. We held 32 total trainings with an average of 23 personnel per training. That concludes our report.
Thank you. And Luke, can you move the agenda up a little? Okay, the Historic Commission Annual Report.
Right, this is a irregular report, but I applaud the members of the Historical Commission for having the initiative to do so. Included in your packet is an annual report from Chairman of the Historical Commission, John Black. In this 3-page letter, it itemizes the many accomplishments of the Historical Commission over the year 2022. With your permission, I decline to read that into the record unless you would ask me to do so.
No, it's an excellent report. I've read the report, and you do not have to read it into the record. Just make it part of it.
It is available on the website, and it is a great deal of accomplishments. I'm grateful.
It's a good report. I urge everybody who's either here or watching us to take the 5 minutes to read the report to find out some of the things the Historical Commission does do. Okay, on to old business. Item A. I'm sorry, what? Oh, we have to approve all these? No, we don't just thank them? All right. Jason, would you like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve all the reports submitted this evening.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we can move to old business. Item A, 525 Reeds Road Planning Commission request to represent the township at the zoning hearing scheduled for February 9th, 2023, Mr. Pascal.
Make a few comments on the Reed's Road plan and respect the 3-minute limit. This is a plan that,
Public comment. This is not public comment.
okay. This is a plan that we have seen at the Planning Commission place. And as you may be aware, it's a very difficult site that they're looking to develop. You're all probably familiar with the plan. Site of about 20 acres, give or take, 21 acres. And the proposal is to divide it into 2 lots, 10 acres each, that would be developed with 2 homes. The plan shows that the home is being located at the top of the hill, the very end of the property, and a long driveway extending from Reed's Road across the stream, up a steep slope area to the homes. Discussed quite a bit of the details of the plan, including the riparian area that's going to be crossed by the driveway, the crossing of the stream, extension of the driveway up to steep slopes area. A lot of these slopes are 25% or greater, which restrict any development. So they're going to be looking for a variance to be able to put this in. Stormwater issues, as you can imagine, water flowing downhill, flowing along the streams, and then discharging into the stream. Site disturbance will be handled by a permit from DEP and Soil Conservation. So there's a lot of issues here. It's a difficult site to develop. We suggested that they look at some options in terms of routing or location of the driveway. Options that may even involve placing the homes at the bottom of the hill instead of having to build the driveway up and disturb all the slope areas, and it's heavily wooded, so there's a lot of woodlands disturbance. They had considered that and then basically felt that would involve more disturbance and was not feasible. Suggested maybe contacting the neighbor who has got a bridge across the stream, and maybe they could share that same stream crossing and rather than building a new one. And they may, if they get the variances, may be able to investigate that. We also talked about the issue of this being an area that the township had wanted to conserve as part of the planning of the conserved area because it is steeply sloped and wooded. And again, the thought was that they would look at that and maybe there's some way of conserving that area or getting some compensation if, again, they get the zoning variances approved. So after the repeated discussions, they came back for a second review of the plan. They kind of laid out the areas that would be disturbed along the driveway, and you can see that dealing with those slopes involve a lot of disturbance adjacent to the driveway just to be able to get that in. All those areas that are disturbed also would involve tree clearing. Talked a little bit about bridge and crossing also. At the end of the discussion, we kind of wrapped up that if this is approved for construction, that there be some conditions that the zoning variance board consider, applying to this if they elect to approve it. One of which being that the site be restricted from any future development other than just the 2 lots. We didn't want to see it come back in with somewhere down the road with an additional plan for more development. So we suggested that be a condition if required. Another condition that we recommended was that the road construction and the engineering of that road be done in such a manner that indeed all the disturbance and tree clearing be minimized by using some more complex engineering methods such as retaining walls, slope stability, again, in order to try to minimize that disturbance. You can see that putting this in and then trying to grade off on the side, you're kind of chasing the hillside and the slope downhill. So you end up disturbing quite a bit of ground. And that the use of retaining walls, even though it's more engineering and more construction, might make sense if the intent is to minimize disturbance. Another condition that we recommended was the stream crossing be done in a manner that keeps the road surface above any kind of water flow that would be coming through in a 100-year storm. Because it's a fairly wide crossing that would be needed to span that 100-year flood event footprint. And again, that would be done in a manner to minimize disturbance in that riparian buffer, allow the 100-year storm to pass without creating damage to the bridge or the roadway. So there's a fair amount of engineering and construction that goes into that road crossing. So those are 3 of the things that we noted in our minutes that we feel strongly that the zoning hearing board should consider if they elect to approve this plan.
I'm sorry.
That's it.
So you're asking the permission of the supervisors to appear on our behalf as our planning commission before the zoning hearing board to outline those 3 conditions?
Yes.
Question? I did read the minutes. Can't find it right now, but you covered what was in the minutes, the planning commission. So I'll make a motion that the planning commission send a representative to the zoning hearing board outlining their position on conditions they recommend. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Jay Fisher, I'm here on behalf of the applicants for this. This plan has been before you folks before, and you did ask us to come back. I don't know if you want a review of the modifications and revisions that were made from the first plan or not.
Hadn't you already presented those?
To the planning commission, not to you.
Oh, I was at the meeting,
Yeah,
so.
well, different body, sir.
My tendency is say, no, present them to the zoning hearing board.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, we planned to do that, but
Right.
we were asked to come
Jason, you'd
tonight.
like to- Right, okay, so. But if you would like to go over them with us.
If you
right.
don't want to see anything more about it, that's fine. I don't want
I
to.
think we're pretty familiar with it.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Item 7, new business. We already did A, and we have B. So, Mr. Raven?
Yep, thank you. This is one of those situations where I have a sad announcement and then I immediately follow it up with a very positive announcement. We'll start with the sad bit first. Charles Giordano, a member of the Planning Commission, has announced his intent to retire from the Planning Commission. Mr. Giordano was first appointed to the Planning Commission on January 16th, 2002. So that is 21 years and 3 days of service to the Planning Commission. I would like to extend my thanks for those many years of service, Mr. Giordano, and recommend that the Board of Supervisors approve his request to resign from the Planning Commission.
I'll make a motion to accept Mr. Giordano's resignation from the Planning Commission. Second. All those in favor? Aye.
And
You might as well go on to C.
so, yeah, I do the sad news and then the good news. The Planning Commission has had the foresight to have a few non-voting members added to their body for a while now, one of whom, Nicole DeTomo, is been selected and is recommended by the Planning Commission to fill the vacancy left by Mr. Giordano's resignation. Nicole is a current non-voting member, and the recommendation of the Planning Commission is that she be appointed to fill the unexpired term of Mr. Giordano.
I will like to make a motion to appoint Nicole as the replacement for Chuck to the Planning Commission with the term expiring 12/31/2026. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, item D, East Brandywine Baptist Church food truck event. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
We just wanted to approach the board and see if we can get approval again to have our food truck festival at the park. Some of the details are listed on the sheet I gave you. We had met with a committee of Mr. Kosi, Jeff Yanka, yes, Luke, Matt, and our team to see what suggestions they had, and the suggestions I listed below of what they would recommend us do if this is approved. We do currently have the dates saved for the 2023 summer event, and if this is approved by the board, then we will proceed with the rest of the details. The attachment that I have is referring to basically the location of the food trucks. That seemed to be the biggest issue at the event, the congestion of food trucks in the one area. We're going to use the same parking lot, but just expand the food trucks so that the lines can go outward instead of inward. I'm not sure if anybody here was at the festival, but it was well attended by Township and other townships. It was estimated that we had like 3,500 to 4,000 people there this past year, and it seemed to be well accepted by the community. I know what we need to do, the permits that we need to provide to the township and the insurance, but basically what I'm here for tonight is to request your approval to proceed with this year's event.
May I interrupt at this juncture, just to clarify what the ask is? We really need to hire somebody to work the cameras and the equipment when I'm talking. My apologies there. Okay, so the Board of Supervisors most recently adopted the park rules with Ordinance 1 of 2022. Included in the park rules is a provision. I will read from it. It's a rule number. It's in the park facilities and open space rules and regulations. And the point is, I would number 13 and number 14. Number 13 is no person shall use sound amplification equipment in the township park unless specifically authorized by the Board of Supervisors or its agents. And 14 is no person shall have in his or her possession or ignite any fireworks unless specifically authorized by the Board of Supervisors or its agents. So the request this evening is, for the most part, the kind of permits that the applicant seeks are routine. But for sound amplification and the fireworks, we do have a practice of having the board authorize that activity in the park. So that's the action item this evening for the board's consideration. Is that a
question? Do we require a permit for large gathering, or is that just a point of note?
We do have a permit for large gathering, but it does not, so long as the applicant can satisfy the conditions of that permit, it does not require a board vote. The particular matter that I think is needs to rise to the level of board action is the fireworks.
And the amplification.
If there is amplification.
We haven't decided if we're going to do that.
I'd want to approve it now so they don't have to come back.
Right. Yeah. That would be why we'd have amplification, is if we want to amplify maybe the music to both sides and the announcements to both sides of the park.
Get
right
a big
now,
tower so the whole township can hear you and get a bigger crowd.
that's okay. So I guess we would request the approval for the possible amplification, but I'm not sure we're going to use larger amplification than we had just for our music last year.
Do you have any other questions? And I don't have any questions. I'm glad Luke explained that, because I was going to ask that permit question. So I'll make a motion that we approve the permits for parking and field use, large gathering, fireworks, and amplification, if needed.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is item E, form of a draft resolution, is it? Ordinance. Item E is guest parking requirements for high-density developments, permission to advertise for adoption. We've been discussing this for a whole year since I've been on the board. They tell me I push too hard to do things fast. It's still been a year.
If I may just provide a timeline of adoption, the last time it was before the board was for your permission to forward it on to Chester County for Act 247 review. That 247 review and comments has been received and reviewed by the Planning Commission. What's in your packet represents what the Planning Commission recommends that the board advertise for adoption probably at your second meeting in February, given that it's 20 days. Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, 20 days is the advertising, or?
2 successive weeks,
2 successive weeks.
not less than 7 days for the second one before the meeting. So it probably will be the second meeting in February.
I appreciate your advocacy, Mr. Chairman, but it is a very slow process.
I understand. Don't always need to count. I have reviewed the ordinance, and it meets what I thought was what was developed and agreed upon. So I was thrilled about it. Okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt for advertising the parking ordinance. I don't know what to call it here. There's no ordinance number yet. Guest parking, I'd like to make a motion to advertise for adoption the guest parking requirements for high-density developments in the form of ordinance.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. That's it. And the second one, F, is permission to advertise and adopt for the official map.
Similar to the matter the board just considered, this draft ordinance is at exactly the same same point in the process. The ordinance would adopt an official map for the township. At the last time the board saw it was at a point where it was recommended to be sent to the county for 247 review. That 247 review has been received and considered by the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission recommended that our consultants make minor changes to the map and refer it to the Board of Supervisors for your permission to advertise for adoption. I will, in this instance, draw your attention to the very minor changes that have happened since the last time you saw this map. In the legend, the section that says proposed Guthriesville road system is now distinguished from proposed loop road, roundabout, and other potential roadways within the township. There's verbiage in the legend that changed. And also, the date last revised has changed. Those are changes that were made in light of the Act 247 review. And at this time, I'd respectfully ask the board grant the solicitor permission to advertise the ordinance and associated official map for adoption.
Okay. Jason, you have any questions? Make a motion? I make a motion that we adopt the official map for advertising.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay. The next is a electric supply agreement with Constellation New Energy, Inc.
Would you like me to do a little background on that?
Sure.
All right. The township is nearing the end of a generation contract that we had with Nordic Energy, and using a consultant to procure the rate with Nordic. that was turnkey energy. I think credit is due to the municipal authority for doing research on a successor contract. The municipal authority engaged World Connect as a consultant. World Connect is a consultant that works with the PA municipal authorities, the Pennsylvania Municipal Authorities Organization, to secure favorable electric rates. They bid out electric to providers, and all of the manner in which World Connect, the consultant, is compensated is not direct billing to the township. They'll be compensated from the arrangement with their winning supplier. The best rate that World Connect was able to identify is Constellation Energy. The contract in your packet this evening is a contract for a period ending in February of 2027 for energy at the kilowatt hour of 7.994 cents. I think it represents a rate below the incumbent provider, which is PECO, and I would recommend the board approve the contract to procure energy through Constellation Energy.
Right, there's a lot more people to thank too before you take a motion. Gotta start by thanking Mike for, through the municipal authority, recognizing that Nordic wasn't going to be a future supplier, and laying the groundwork for us and sharing the information with the township staff. That was a tremendous help. Electric supply rates are interesting, and they're only good for the day they quote them. And I'm not sure what time they quoted it, but it was in the afternoon, pretty late. I got a frantic call, can I come up and look at it and okay it, and we need to find another supervisor. And Jason appeared 7 minutes before 5, and 5 o'clock was the deadline. So Jason had a huge hand in it. Oh no, that's I'm glad we had problems. We are too. So, and I think Lisa had a hand in it. I think Matt had a hand in it. So it is a 3-year contract, and what Luke did not say is we had an outside consultant under Nordic that we now no longer consult with, and that saves between $16,000 and $18,000 a year. And Luke is the one, when I first came to the board, pointed out to me, wasn't sure what the consultant did, and it turned out he didn't do anything. We all would. Anyway, so thanks to the staff, the municipal authority, and the supervisor. So I make a motion that we accept the contract. I believe it's for 3 years. I mean, the rate's good for 3 years.
Yeah, the end dates vary by the 5 meters quoted, but I think a good summary would be 3 years. Yes, beginning in February.
All right, I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Mike, you had a. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I guess that would, well.
And the rate is 7.994 cents per kilowatt. The PECO rate's 9.9, and will rise again on March 31st. They only give a 90-day rate. So we have our rate locked in. Okay, thank you. Okay, item H, proposal for purchase a new dump truck for road department. Matt?
Thank you. Derek Kloss, road foreman, and I have been working with Dale Smith of EM Kutz Incorporated and William Beck of International on pricing a new 2003 single-axle diesel dump truck with a center toolbox. The truck will be equipped with a V-plow spreader and a stainless steel dump bed. The chassis cost is $81,797, and to outfit the truck is $54,722 for a total cost of $136,519. More than likely, we would not receive this truck until the first quarter of 2014, but I believe it.
2024.
I'm sorry, yeah, 2024. But I do believe that it may be sooner than that. I respectfully ask permission to purchase the 2023 International truck as proposed.
And this is a replacement truck, and it's different than the other truck that was ordered a while ago.
Correct. Last year, we had ordered a Freightliner, which is a larger truck than this one. This is I'm going to say a smaller dump truck. It would be similar to a F-550. The Freightliner, we expect to take delivery probably in the middle of this year.
And the Freightliner has not come in yet, right?
No. No,
The estimated delivery date on that, do you have one?
that's probably around the middle of this year.
Okay. And it's all through the public, it's all through the capital fund.
It's a combination of capital fund and liquid fuels.
Liquid fuel. So, I'll make a motion that we purchase the dump truck as described by the roadmaster.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, item 7, subdivisions and zoning applications. There's something on the agenda. Ordinance and resolutions for consideration. We've actually done that already. And is there any public comment on non-agenda items? All right, under notices, there's been no executive sessions between the AM session on 1/3 and the evening session on 1/19. So we've had no executive session. There's another notice that I want to bring up briefly, just as information. Our meetings are run under Resolution 2001-08, which is 23 years old. There are some typos and some things that we are not following in this resolution anymore. There are some things that are out of order. And we are going to discuss this in public after we get input from our solicitor and our township manager, our township secretary, and the supervisor. So everybody knows. And it's the way to run it. Primarily it's to 3 minutes. But there's a couple other little technical things running the meeting. Time to update. So with that, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
I second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.